Hey guys, namaste. I'm Kay. This is Ecstatic Self. So earlier I was asking on Instagram for people to leave comments on what they would like to see me create a video about. And one of those requests was, could I talk about monogamy, polyamory, and open relationships? Cool. Yeah, I'm happy to dive into that a little bit. So first, a caveat. Objectively, I don't think that there is anything wrong or right about any relationship structure so long as you are open and authentic with yourself and your partner slash partners about what you really want. And realizing that our self-understanding and what we want can change over time as we know ourselves better and as we have further experiences. Now that said, we all have natural proclivities and those things can change with time, but we also have things that interest us and excite us. So for myself, I'm generally somebody who really enjoys monogamy. Me and my husband have been together for 5.5 years and have pretty much been exclusively monogamous that whole time, with very few exceptions that I've talked about in other videos, right? Like I went to a Paris bathhouse when I was traveling for work and walked around and watched and talked to people, but I didn't have sex with anybody, though. A few people did grab me on request without me asking, and I would just say, no, thank you very much, but I'm not interested in French. So yeah, basically monogamous. And I really like that experience. Like there's something so lovely about being familiar with a person's energy and being able to dive into that and the level of trust and safety that's there. And, I still feel like every time we have sex, it's new and different and we try different things. And I love the experience of just being connected with one person. I find that really fulfilling. Now, will we stay monogamous always? I have no crystal ball. I don't know. Perhaps, perhaps not. I don't know. But I really like that experience. No, so that's the one thing. And there's a lot of people who are in monogamous relationships who really shouldn't be. There's a lot of people I know who just cannot function in a monogamy. And especially if you're in a relationship where you really don't feel like all your needs are getting met. If your needs are not getting met, you are going to find a way to meet them. Like, it's just, that's what you will do. So whether that means breaking up or having an affair or getting a partner on the side or something's going to happen if your needs are not getting met. So I think if you are intentionally in a monogamous relationship, it's really important to have good communication with your partner. You check in, say, are you happy? Are you getting what you want out of this? If no, what can we do to get those needs? And can they function within the confines of our monogamous relationship? Maybe yes, maybe no. Now I will say that most societies throughout history have been non-monogamous. Whether you look at it being like the French, where it's just assumed that you will have a mistress or a mister, or you look at other civilizations where polyamory is more typical, where it's like one man with multiple wives. There's something to be said for people who say, it's a lot of stress to put on one person to be everything for you, right? That is a lot of pressure, and sometimes you have to outsource your needs, or maybe you find that you love 2 people, or you love 3 people, or you love a flock of people. Cool. Then just be honest with yourself and be honest with them. If that's what works for you, cool. If that isn't what works for you, cool. I've known many people who've had happy relationships with a married couple where they are open about that being like a bit of a 3-way for a time. I've known people who have maintained little pods. It's not something I've explored, so I don't have any personal experience with it. But again, the key is open communication about, are you getting your needs met? And realize that the human heart is a fickle thing and that we do often change allegiances. And so if you are going to be in a more complex web of relationships, realize it may shift who you're more attracted to or who you're more drawn to over time. And that the relationship has to be able to expand and contract. The relationships need to be expand and contract, and realize that things will shift and change, and they will be more dynamic than just we're 2 people and this is it. So the communication has to be there. And then the third thing, which is not polyamory, but an open relationship. So polyamory, I'm just saying, is you're in relationships. Open relationship meaning I have my significant partner, but I go have sex with other people. Or maybe it's not quite fully another relationship, it's just maybe even just a friend with benefits. Or just hookups. But it's not a 3-way relationship. It's not a primary relationship and a secondary relationship. It's just, I have my relationship and then I have something else on the things going on the side. I didn't think I was going to say this, but I am. I'm going to say I think this is actually one of the harder ones to maintain. Because what I've watched with people and the stories I've heard from people is when I've seen people move into open relationships because their primary relationship is no longer fulfilling them, is that they tend to start drifting apart from their partner. And I mean, just face the facts that when you grow and explore as a person, and if you are off having romantic escapades with somebody else, you're going to be growing and learning about yourself. You change. And if your partner is not with you, then you're changing separately. You're not growing together. And so going off to have these experiences mean you and your partner are going to be drifting in different directions, which means keeping your primary relationship together is much harder. That's why, like, me and my husband Anthony, we've said, if we comes a point where we want to open things up, we'd rather do it as a 3-way or a 4-way situation rather than each of us go off and have sex with somebody else. Because I think it's very hard to do, and most of the people I know who end up opening their relationships, either A, the sex stops between the primary couple and the intimacy stops, or B, that happens and then they also end up breaking up. And especially in gay relationships, it's very common for there to be openness, and it's also very common for relationships not to last too long. And again, we are a community that comes with a lot of baggage and a lot of trauma. But I'm not a huge fan of just each partner goes off and fucks people or gets fucked by people. I don't think. I mean, I suppose there's ways to do it healthfully, but there always are ways to do it healthfully. Let's be honest about it. There's always a way to do it. It's something that intimidates me, though, just because I haven't seen people really work through it. And again, that I think it does come down to communication. So if you're like open with people and you're open with your partner and you stay connected in the experiences, then maybe you can. But communication's the key, and I'm sure you can, right? There's always people who can make any type of relationship work. And this is probably my own blocks, just because I feel intimidated by it. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please write, subscribe, send me an email. I'd love to hear how things are going for you. Yeah, I'm Kay. I hope this was helpful, whoever asked me this question. I'm Kay. This is Ecstatic Self. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.